We're firing the coaching staff 4 weeks into the season? 4 games? And we're firing the coaching staff? What are we, crazy? We're not the Cleveland Browns hiring and firing coaches every year. That's no path to success. Absolutely not. It's been a disastrous start. That I get. 3 losses, the first 4 games of the season for a team that had expectations based on talent to win 11, 12, 13 games. To have 3 losses the first 4 games, it's an utter disappointment. But fire the coaching staff? What are you, nuts? And look, even if you're like part of the camp that says it's time to fire Mike Nolan, bring in Wade Phillips, right? That seems like an easy fix. Who do you think oversaw and helped to install the defensive game plan? Like, it wasn't like Mike Nolan was all by himself just deciding like a mad scientist what kind of a defense they were going to run, and then he brought it to the table at the first day of training camp and was like, here's what we're going to run. Let's see if we can install this thing in a shortened offseason. No. Mike McCarthy, Mike Nolan, when McCarthy was hired, they got together, they decided the type of schemes that they wanted to run, and they've been implementing it. So if you're part of like Team Fire Mike Nolan, I mean, you might as well be part of Fire Team Mike McCarthy too, because he's as responsible for the defensive schemes as Mike Nolan is. Fire the coaches 4 weeks into the season. Look, I'm upset too, but that's crazy. Today's video brought to you by betonline.ag. Betonline.ag, your online sportsbook experts, and now might be the time to be buying low at betonline.ag on the Dallas Cowboys. Today's video also brought to you by Miller Lite. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Look, I'm not here to sell you that this coaching staff doesn't have shortfalls and that there hasn't been issues. You can point squarely at the coaching staff here. The one thing that I will say more than anything that bothers me about what this coaching staff has done so far this year is make excuses because of the COVID-shortened offseason, right? They didn't have minicamp. They didn't have OTAs. You had a shortened training camp without any preseason. But that's not a legitimate excuse because as a franchise, one, all 32 other teams are dealing with it. I know this is a new coaching staff, but maybe you didn't hear the team that just beat you had a brand new coaching staff as well this past offseason. And there's many other teams across the league that have new coaching staffs that did what they could have within the time that they had this offseason. That's what bugs me. That's what bothers me more than anything about it is the idea that Mike McCarthy keeps deferring because it's like, well, woe is us. What are we supposed to do? We're using these as preseason games because we didn't have any preseason and we didn't have any OTAs or mini camps to get guys here to install schemes. We did over Zoom and, what are we supposed to do? It's like, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't like this quarantine just happened upon you. It wasn't like the pandemic was just dropped upon you in the middle of the offseason, right? I mean, you had multiple months to prepare for a shortened offseason. You had multiple months to be thinking about how you could evolve and adjust to the pandemic, and you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything different. You did it the same as if you were taking over during a regular offseason, and that's a loser's mentality. Look at all the businesses over the course of this pandemic and quarantine that have been forced to evolve, right? Like, that's how capitalism works, right? You evolve or you die, even in the midst of a pandemic. If you're a restaurant owner, you couldn't just sit back and be like, well, we can't pay any of our staff because we don't have anybody in. Over the course of multiple months, you have to create a plan that is conducive to the current landscape of the world. And the Cowboys are no different. If you have a shortened offseason where you're not going to have players able to come in for mini camps and OTAs, then you have to adjust your schemes accordingly. The Cowboys were like, yeah, we have a new staff, shortened offseason, no mini camps, no OTAs, no shortened training camp, no preseason games. Let's just go full bore into a brand new scheme that's completely convoluted and has a lot of different pieces. It has a multiple 3-4-4-3. It's like, it's nonsensical. And it's upsetting to hear him make that as an excuse because you knew this offseason was going to be different and you didn't adjust. Maybe you do a more simplistic scheme this season and then evolve it over the course of the season and then adjust full bore in the next season when you think you might have a full offseason to install. But to say it as an excuse is malpractice, and to buy it as a Cowboys fan is BS. Evolve or die. It was there for you in March. You had multiple months to adjust to it, and you didn't do it. That's on you. The other thing that bothers me, and should bother you too, is the Cowboys' lack of aggressiveness in any capacity whatsoever to try to improve this defense. Now, normally, I'm not go sign guy X during the season, But a lot of what we're seeing with this Cowboys team on defense and the issues that they have is schematic, no doubt about that. But a lot of it's also the players that they have. They don't have a lot of talent on defense, and they didn't going into this season. And a lot of the talent that they do have is either one, underperforming, or two, injured. Leighton Vander Esch gets hurt. They didn't have much behind Leighton Vander Esch to be successful. That's a problem. Everson Griff is underperforming. Some of these other guys are underperforming. So what do you do if you're the Cowboys? Maybe you look outside the organization to improve. There's still guys available that you could sign that could, in fact, improve your team today. Because without moving from outside the organization inside, there's no chance for this defense to improve dramatically over the course of the season. Vander Esch can come back healthy, and maybe the defensive line can improve, but are we sitting here hoping and praying and waiting for a 1-3 team to get guys to figure it out and turn it around? Or are we trying to give some momentum by bringing guys from outside the organization to infuse some life and competition in this secondary to this defense that's been horrible to start the year? I mean, Damon Snacks Harrison's been available the entire offseason, and instead they signed Dontari Poe, Gerald McCoy. McCoy gets hurt, and they're sitting on their hands while Seattle goes and signed Damon Snacks Harrison. I don't know that Snacks is still this elite level, high level defensive tackle, but my God, let's find out. Eric Weddle, Tony Jefferson, Earl Thomas, Prince Amukamara, Wesley Woodyard, do something. Sitting on your hands and just hoping and praying that the players that you have currently at your roster get better is not the best strategy when a lot of these guys are proving to just not be that talented. And again, I'm normally not Mr. Go out and sign whoever, but at this juncture, with how bad this defense has looked, why the not? Thanks for checking out today's video. If you enjoyed it, consider hitting like or subscribe. Shout out to betonline.ag, your online sportsbook experts, for sponsoring today's video, and Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys.